Okay, so this is going to be in parts. I'm going to put this in at the beginning as introduction because at the end of the other one, it was kind of late for me to do my introductions. Anyways, I got this idea because this book I purchased was The Castle of Cross Destinies. The Mad Witch, Giselle, recommended it on one of her videos. And it sounded really fascinating where people are trapped in a castle and the only way they can communicate is with the tarot. It sounded kind of novel style, so I thought, I'm going to get that book. And hence the dog incident. The other thing that's been happening that also inspired me to do this is that I watched this one gal on, I think it's Laura Derbyshire on Instagram, and she does grimoires and scrapbooking style, and I went ahead and picked up that book too. Of course, my husband joked this came the next day, and he says, "Oh, you bought another chew toy for the doggy? Thank you very much." yeah, it's like he ain't getting all of this one. Anyways, so this was another inspiration that I thought I would use and would help me with some of my journaling and just creativity of the scrapbooking style, piecing together of papers, materials, all the tools, folding envelopes. I love that stuff. Attachments and stamping and, all the goodies that come along. Look at even sigil making. That's pretty cool in here. One thing I did notice that this book is only about half information. The rest of it is some lovely papers that are usable in your grimoire making. I'm so excited. And then it's got some other ones listed here by Charles and David. That must be the press. Anyways, they've got some other ones listed here that I'm going to have to look up and take a peek at. Art Magic and The Witch's Yearbook in particular. But they've got seeds and tarot spreads. I don't know about those two, but I'm going to have to do some exploration. Anyways, let's get on with the video, and I'll piece this together as best as I can, and you'll get to experience my experience in a quick, simple emergency repair bookbinding. I'm going to leave that string there. I'm going to leave all those little strings there, kind of like Giselle does, because it's kind of fun. Anyways, we'll see you on the tube. Hello. So, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos lately, and kind of getting inspired again. At least here and there, I'll shoot a few videos here and there. I just, like I said, kind of getting inspired. So I'm going to start this one out as just a kind of fun, I don't know, experimentative type thing. I mean, I've done bookbinding before to a degree, limited bookbinding. I've dabbled in it, but I have to show you this one because this one's kind of comical. Comical, but also aggravating. I just purchased this book. It came in, today's Thursday. It probably came in Monday, maybe Tuesday. And it was just sitting on the table. I didn't think anything of it. And I was in the other room and I could hear my puppy dog chewing on something. I just assumed it was a puppy pad or some random piece of paper laying on the floor. Yeah. My brand new book, he got off the table and completely shredded it. I've tried taping this together, but yeah, it was not a fun afternoon. Oh, so pissed off. So angry. Look at this. Just chewed up on all the corners and scratched. And then, like I said, this is in 100 little pieces that I've glued back or taped back together. But I don't think I'm going to use those. I think what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is grab some scrap paper. wide enough strip, wide and long. I've got all these in here from my junk journals. One that's wide enough and long enough. I don't think that might work. That might be actually the perfect size. It's not quite as wide as I'd like it to be. I just dropped my basket. All right, well. Time to organize, I guess, since I ended up with it all on the floor. Anyways, hopefully you can hear me. I'm bending over and doing all kinds of crazy ass stuff here. So I think I'm going to use that as the binding support, or the cover support on the binding. Let me just grab this out. Kind of want to see how wide is my book here. It looks like it's right about let me put it over here and see. About a ½ inch, something like that. So let me measure this up. Grab my little, this is my creasing tool. This way. So we got 3½ inches. So I want to get it equal lengths. So right on the 2 about there, and the 1½ there. No, I'm not doing measuring. I'm just not one of those type of people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just glue this right on that edge. It looks like I could probably go down a little bit smaller. So I think what I'm going to do is go one more click here, and it'll be a little bit bigger on the front, but not by much. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach that to the back, and that is going to be, you know what, I can turn it the other way. Do I need to turn it the other way? Yeah, I do. If I want that side, I need to turn it the other way. I want the warmer side to show. Because basically this is what you will see, is this attached to the cover that I'm going to put on here. So you won't be seeing this itself. This part. This will be covered up. So, let me grab my tacky glue. And I might speed this up, so you may lose some clarity of voice if I up the speed of this when I post it. I don't want too much of this. I want it to stay within the boundaries of that ½ inch. I'm having issues with dried up end there. There we go. I think I'm getting it now. Like I said, I don't want too much on here. I just want enough to tack that almost ½ inch backing to backing. Make sure I wind up with the top and bottom as close as possible. Okay. I wish I had a book clamp. One of these days I'm going to buy myself a book clamp, because there's a lot of times I want the book clamp also. I can clamp my decks down and possibly spray paint edging instead of using markers. which gives a much cleaner product. But you don't want it to bleed into the card, so you got to have it clamped down really tight. Just going to rock that back and forth for a little while. Put some pressure on it. It should tack down pretty good. Look, it looks better already. I'm going to hit pause here for a minute so I can dig out my book board. Okay, back. So what I've done is I've cut some cardstock. So it's going to be kind of a hardcover book this time. These are cards that I've saved from artist prints I've received, like from Lisa Hunt and Ian McDaniels, or Ian McDaniel, whatever. Anyways, so these are what I cut them down to fit the book, the size of the book, and just measure them up there. And then what I did is I have these materials. Oops. Did I still do that backwards? I did. Son of a gun. I might have to rip that seam out and re-sew it again because I obviously keep screwing up. I thought I had fixed it and I didn't. Okay, so I got to re-sew that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use bookbinding tape first to attach the front and back to the spine of that book. Normally I would probably cut a piece of more of this cardstock and put it up there, but I don't think it's necessary. It's way reinforced as it is, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to tape it to it because everything's going to get glued down in the end. So hold on a minute. Okay, so let me readjust that. I don't want to be in the picture. I'm not dressed for it. Anyway, so this is your bookbinding tape, glue line gluing tape, and let me see. I think I'm just going to do straps across the back because I just want them to hold in place long enough to get the cover, the fabric on the cover. And I don't necessarily want to attach to the spine just yet, but I want those distances correct. So I think what I'm going to do, I don't know where my scissors are. Oh, I have my sewing scissors. It's fabric. I can cut it. We'll do 3 strips across the back. And basically you just get them a little bit wet because it's a kind of like licking a stamp type thing. All right. Make sure I'm lined up before I put the first piece down. Like I said, I mostly want those distances correct. Again, a board or a press would be, a book press would be really nice. All right, got that. Like I said, I'm not too worried about the spine itself attaching to it. It can come loose because I still got to attach the fabric to these boards, which will all be glued. And I'll probably glue the fabric to the boards first before I actually attach it to the book. So, like I said, I'm not a professional bookbinder, but I have taken classes. I'm a dabbler. I have some experience, both stitching and gluing. Otherwise, most of it's experimental. It's just me taking a shot at it. And I've done a few. Not a lot, but a few for my own personal use. This one kind of, what's that? Bookbinding or needles. I didn't realize I had that. All right. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. And so I make sure those tapes stay in place. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up so it's away from the spine, but not away from where I attached it. Okay, set that aside. Hold on. All right. 3 times the charm, I guess. Okay, I want, this is the front of the book. I want this to be the front and that to be the back. So, let's figure out, if that's the way I want it, then this needs to be the front. It's still a little bit tacky there. But as long as it's sticking to the cardboard in place, we're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up so that I want excess over the edge of the cardboard because that's going to fold on the back side, and then we're going to apply some cardstock or decorative paper on the back side to hide that edging of the material. And this is left over from my junk journals. I just kind of pieced materials together and then make a sheet and use that to wrap my junk journals in. So what we're going to do, I think what I'm going to do first, do I want to use the bookbinding adhesive or do I want to just use my tacky glue? I think I'm just going to use my tacky glue for this. Okay. This thing's still having a hard time coming out, but we're going to, and I don't want this to be too thick because it will go through the, I'm just going to do one side at a time through the material. So we just want enough, and I'm going to get a wet sponge and spread it around our wet brush. Let me use a brush so that we can get it fairly even, not too wet. Again, it will go through the material, so, but I want an even coating. Try not to let that slide around too much. I don't want it to jack up my tape. In fact, I think I'm going to give it a minute here just to do a little drying. I love those little disposable brushes. They come in quite handy for glue projects. Sponges are okay, but I think they can absorb a little too much water at times. All right, I'm going to set this up so I have at least a little bit of an overage on top, bottom, and side. I'm going to use a scraper. There we go. Came all the way to the edge of that. Cover. Cool. So I'll get a little bit of it, all the material on the cover. That's cool. Let me pull this up real quick and stretch it out a little bit. Sorry, I'm whispering. I whisper when I'm in intricate moments. All right, now I'm going to go to this side and do the same on this one. Come on. I thought about putting running this through a laminating machine and reattaching it, but it's like, I might use that as the inside covers is what I might do. It's got an awful lot of Scotch tape on it though, but we'll see. That might be my inside cover to cover up the material edges. I think that's a good plan. That way I still have the whole book in my rebinding project. So let's take off some of that paint, that water. Do the other side. This is, the glue method is probably the fastest method, and it works pretty good. I think it works good. If I was to do, and I plan on doing, I have been planning for years, to do my own blank journal binding. Oops, that's pulled out. I would stitch. I would definitely do the hand stitch thing. All right, so I think I got this. Stitch out there. Cool. Make sure that glue is not sticky on the table. You will have a little curling with your cardstock, depending. I'll leave it like an inch here. Whoa. I think I'll save that triangle because that can be attached to a different piece. So it would be much easier if I had my roller cutter to get straighter edges, and if I would have done it ahead of time, but I'm kind of trying to rush this project. I've got doggies outside, and normally, you know, we're used to not leaving dogs outside because of the predators in the area, and my little girl before was like a 3-pound Yorkie, 2-pound, 3-pound Yorkie, something like that. 3 pounds in her old age. She got fluffy. Anyways, so do I want to go ahead and attach this now? No, I don't, because I need that to go down like that. All right, so I'm going to cut these corners off. Not all the way to the cardboard, but pretty close, because we don't want them to be too thick. That one's going to be a little bit on the close side. All right, oops. Grab my tacky glue again. Helps if I take the lid off. And we're just doing the perimeter here. This time I'm not going to be as finicky over the amount of glue that goes down, because I'm going to spread it with my finger just a little bit. We need this to hold really good. Spread those apart a little bit. I think I'm going to put some on this tape up here, just to help hold the material in place. Ah, I hate that. I set it right side up and it immediately stops flowing. Oops, pulled that too tight. So I'm going to start there, tap those down, tap that down. You gotta keep in mind these tapes are measured, so you gotta keep them in place while you're doing this. Like I said, this is going to be uneven on this portion. I need to roll that because it's too close there. That I might have to reinforce with a little bit of glue there. Keep awfully close on that end. Sorry, I'm whispering again. Need a little bit more glue there. I have this nifty little stand, but I'm afraid to leave it in there like that because it'll probably run out. So I have to find the cap and then put it in the stand. And that becomes kind of a, you know, a extra step that, yeah, some of us are just not good with extra steps. They're wise steps, but not necessarily convenient steps. corner and this corner are going to have to be reinforced with glue. For one thing, that material's thicker on top of that gauzy pink stuff. But that's what kind of makes junk journals kind of fun, too, is because you get these little frayed edges that don't match up and, you know, need a little extra love. I'm going to have to put something on top of that just to make it stay down. Something plastic that will come up easy, but with just a little bit of weight. Or maybe the scissors will work. Come on, stay. Something with a little weight on there. Hold that down. One last edge over here. I don't know if this is in frame or not, but one last edge on this side. Cool. All right. That's the hard part. The rest should be pretty easy. I'm going to tack a little bit more glue down here just to make sure that is down. Still left in a tad bit right there. Oh, what we do to try to make things work around here, you know? Anyway, so that's set. Meanwhile, I'm going to cut these down because these are going to be my inside covers. I just need to trim up that edge. Actually, I think that one goes on this side. So I basically just need to trim that edge down. And I can because when this goes on here, it's going to come up to there. So if I cut that edge down, we can take it to that and still show the whole picture. So let me trim that up real quick. I use my big trimmer for my cardboard. I'm going to use this little trimmer for this. Unfortunately, I will probably lose, okay, why is it not coming up? There it is. Part of the name and the title, at least the name at the top, because, oh yeah, that looks good. And I'm going to take a little off. I'm going to take a little bit off all the edges, just a tad. Oops. I wanted to trim that the wrong way for some reason. I don't know why. I'm just going to take enough off so that I can see the fabric around the edges. I like that look. It's just a me thing. Plus it gives me a nice straight edge since it was all pieced together. This one, I think I want more of the information here. What is this? Oh, those are more reviews. It doesn't really matter. So I might take a little off of all the edges there. Right about there. I put a little fingernail crease that way you can see it. Like I said, what we do to shortcut things is pretty amazing. That cleans that edge up. Let's clean this edge up. I can't believe what my dog did to this poor book. Raggedy there because it's chewed as well as ripped. And let's do this edge, shouldn't be quite so bad. Alright, so those are my insides. All right, that looks like it's down finally. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that there. You know what? Let's put these down first when I think about it. This I want to cover up. I want to leave a little bit of fabric edge here, just for aesthetic's sake. I'm going to glue these down first because those other flaps are going to cover up part of this. So let's glue these down first. Whoops. I went over that hole. That's going to be interesting. Again, with a little bit of damp brush. Probably should have done the book cover instead of the binding cover instead of the book cover, I should say. The way that came out. But it's okay. It'll work. This one I want on this side. Get all your little bits of paper off. That helps. Keeping your space clean can make a huge difference on how your production is on all projects. All projects. You know what I'm going to break out? I'm going to break out this little roller tool. Oops. And see how it works for this. This is an inking roller, but I'm going to use it on this. There we go. Oops, that's my book binding glue. I'm kind of saving that for actually doing that journal. I've got a ream of paper that initially was going to be my book of shadows that I was going to hand stitch, book bind, and that was years ago, and I have never gotten around to it. So, like I said, like all of us, I'm sure, we stockpile crafting tools and plan these projects, and then they never come to fruition, or they take so long that everything sits in a box forever. Oh, I can't find my lid now. All right, well, it'll turn up. Line this up. So. This side doesn't have a big old hole in it, so hopefully it will not get glue on my roller. I've gotten a little bit, but hopefully not too much. Hopefully it'll clean off easily. That tacky glue, fabric glue, or whatever it is, sometimes it's stubborn on coming off, cleaning off of things. Even this glass top I have on my crafting table sometimes doesn't work. All right, why is my bottle not balancing in there? Must be off in the... Okay. At this point, I wonder where the lid is to that, the cap. I don't think I'm going to use that just because I don't have a cap for it. I'm going to go ahead and do this part. We're going to attach the book. The pièce de résistance is attaching the book. Probably need more. Whoops. Sorry about that. Move the camera. Didn't mean to. I think you can still see. There we go. Okay, that will stay. Stay. Okay, you got a quick glimpse of me in my nightie. My nightgown. I'm a morning person. And I will get up and do shit in my pajamas first thing in the morning, because that's just the way I am. So I'm binding that down. I'm going to flip that up so that I can push this up against there. Now I do need to secure the rest of this piece. Cool. Awesome. I'm so excited. Look at that. Look at that. That one glued pretty good. Let's put a little bit more in there to make sure that's securely down. Look at that. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Probably could have put something here to attach to that, but you know what, I'm not going to worry about it. It's got a cover again. We just need that to securely dry really good. I wish they made like a silicone for paper type thing that you could, I'm going to just try this. Put a little bead along there. And see if that works. Just to hide that seam a little bit. Without gluing to the paper itself or trapping the page itself. I'm going to do that on both sides here. Like if it was a glue that had like paper product in it, that didn't come out as nice. That it would seal those gaps a little bit. I'm sure if this was a proper book binding, I wouldn't have to worry about that, but this is not a proper book binding. This is emergency procedure to fix my book that my puppy chewed up. Oh, and I guess I should tell you what the book is. The book is The Castle of Crossed Destinies. I was listening to, if you've hung on this long, we'll get to the credits here. The Castle of Crossed Destinies, I was watching The Mad Witch, Miss Giselle, and she was going over some books that she had, and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like that would be a really interesting book to read, because she made it sound like, and hopefully it is because I haven't read it yet, it's a almost novel style, of being trapped in a castle, and the only way the people inside the castle can communicate is with the tarot cards. So, it just sounded fascinating. So that's why I bought the book. And mayhem ensued initially right after that. So, alrighty. We look good. Let that dry really good for probably at least 12 to 24 hours. Like I said, I wish I had a book press. It would help to, I may even sit that on its side for a while, on its back, so that it puts pressure on that. Though it feels pretty tacked down. Anyways, yeah, so that's why I bought the book. So Miss Giselle recommended it, and it sounded very interesting. And yeah. I'm looking forward to actually reading it now that now that it's got a cover on it. I have a scraper here. One thing nice about a glass top is you can scrape up a lot of the mess. But right now it's still wet, so it's kind of smearing. But scrapers come in really handy for candle making and stuff like that. Picking up glue, glitter, bits of fabric that have been stuck to the table. due to glue. Glue is probably the worst. And like I said, that tacky stuff is probably one of the hardest stickers that I've used. Anyway, so now that you got me, you have to see me clean up. Gave Giselle her credit where credit was due. And I'll let you know how the book fares, possibly, if I get that ambitious. I'm pretty wishy-washy with the YouTube right now. Just more other things to do in this world that it doesn't get my priority attention. So, all right, we got that cleaned up. The glue cleaned up. We'll let that sit. And quick and simple bookbinding. Whoops. Uh-oh. I'll attach some of the other stuff to it. That kind of sucks. It didn't tear the piece that I put in there, but it pulled up some of the old backing onto it. This side, not quite so much. Well, we'll let that sit, and it should be in good shape. That's my quick and simple bookbinding. I don't want to call it a tutorial. It's my experience. Do with it what you may will. You know what I might do is take some washi tape after this dries and put it down there on those where it binds here. I could also put some more fabric, which would look kind of interesting, and that could attach to that page without hindering its movement. Glue up in there. That might work. Just put a little bit of fabric in there. Would probably solve that problem altogether. Washi tape I hesitate on because it pulls off so easily. It's a temporary fix. All right. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on. Okay, so quick update. It's been about 2 or 3 hours since I filmed that. And I grabbed my book, and the binding didn't take. I think it's because the old binding was still attached to the glue there, and so that attached to my binding and then pulled free, because that's basically just paper that's shredded, has shredded away from the original binding. So it's just loose fibrous material that needed to come off. So I've scraped it off. Wish I had some sandpaper. I'm just gonna taking off as much of this old paper from the original binding off the original binding glue. Lessons learned here. This isn't a learning experience. I've never had this happen before, but it, yeah, apparently did not like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and use my bookbinding glue, because I noticed that the bookbinding glue on this, and I'm hoping it's the same stuff, is kind of rubbery in a way. So I'm kind of hoping that will, like I was saying earlier, fill in that gap a little bit. Ooh, it's definitely runnier than my other stuff. I'll go ahead and run that along there. I don't want too much excessive seepage, but I want it to be well bound. Make sure I got it the right direction. We're going to reapply that to the spine there. I need a tissue. Both for my nose and for the glue that has successfully gone everywhere. All right, so hopefully, I'm going to clamp these because I want there to be a pull from the covers to the spine to make sure that goes down, because it did harden during that time period. So if I can find my clippies. I usually have sewing clippies. What did I do with them? I'm not sure what I did with my clippies for sewing. Huh. Oh well. Just rub it down. Rub it off this edge. That might help. I did shower and get dressed and fixed my hair a little bit. So, not as bad as I was earlier. Okay, I think that worked. Rubbing that spine down helped a lot. I feel like it took out that crease that had developed there. Yeah, that's much better. All right, cool. All right, I'm not even going to open it. I'm going to just let it sit here and dry. And I think we solved the problems. If not, I will be back. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the tube. Bye-bye.